Now that we have learned about the basic of React, let's start building the component for our application. Let's start by building the buttons in our app. And just a quick recap, here are the buttons that we need to build. So we have the blue round button and also a button with an outline and the icon button. And now I'll go to VS Code and get right into it. First of all, let's grab all the dummy components that we have created before. And we'll start with the round button. We'll create a new button folder where we will put all the button components inside here. And we'll go ahead and create another folder called round button and create a new round button JSX file. And we will use the RFCP shortcut to generate the component with prop type. The round button component is basically a wrapper around the native button element. So we'll simply pass the prop to the button element. And we'll focus on writing the CSS next. We'll go ahead and create a new module SAS file and quickly create a new round button class and import it back inside our round button component. Let's see if this works in our browser. We will load our round button component in our homepage just for testing purposes. Next, let's go to our browser and we can see that the round button component appears in the DOM. Great! And now we can start styling this round button. First of all, if you want to make a button round, we need to set the border radius to 50%. The button is a little bit elongated now, but that's okay. It's because we haven't set the width and height yet. Let's do that. We will set the width and height to 100 pixels, and now you can see that the button looks a lot better now. Next, let's make the content of the button a lot more readable by changing the color into white. And we'll add a little bit of shadow and also give the left and right side a little bit of breathing space. Our button looks a lot better now. However, it doesn't feel like a button just yet. When we hover on a button, I think giving the button a little bit of depressed effect will make it nicer. Let's do that. Let's add a new hover pseudo class to our class round button here, and I'll set the background color to be a little bit darker and also decrease the blurriness of the shadow. And that looks a lot better than before. Alright, let's move on. We will create the outline button next. Now let's do something different this time. Instead of using a CSS file to style this component, we'll try to use Windy CSS built-in classes. First of all, let's give a little bit of spacing around the button, and then we'll style the font and give the button a border and some hover and focus effect. And that's it. With Windy CSS, it is possible for us to style our component without a CSS file. However, as you can see here in the code, sometimes it could get quite messy, as we will have a very bloated class attribute for the element. Which one should we use? Well, it's really up to your personal preference. For me, I actually prefer to use a CSS file rather than using Windy CSS directly on my button. I only use Windy CSS for general helper classes like margin and padding. Alright, let's move on to the last button type. We'll create an icon button next. We will repeat the same procedure, creating the component file and load it inside the home page. Now with icon, it's better for us to install a third-party library and wrap it around with our button icon component here. There's a fantastic library called Material Design Icon, and we're gonna use that in this project. We'll go to the terminal and install Material Design Icon Font, JS, and React. Once we're done, let me show you how this library works. First of all, we'll need to go to the Material Design Icon official website, and from here, we can browse for all the icons that are provided by Material Design Icon. Once you have found the icon that you want, copy the name, and back to our code, we will import the icon from the library that we just installed. So the first step is to load the icon component provided by MDI React. This icon component is a wrapper to ensure that material icon will work properly in the DOM. Next, we'll import the icon from the MDI.js library. The icon name has to be camel cased in contrast to what we have just copied. Once we have imported the icon, we simply need to provide it to the path props in the icon component. And there you go, it's now working. The icon component allows us to customize the color and also the size of the icon by simply passing in the size and color prop. To make our button icon component more flexible, we should define the color and size props and give them a default value. Now currently we're hard coding the icon. Ideally, we should make it into a prop as well. And refactor our home component to make it pass the account badge icon to our button icon component. And finally, we'll add some windy CSS classes to make our icon button look like a button. Alright, looking good. Those are basically the buttons that we need in this timer app for now. Building these components might look a little bit daunting in the first glance, but it's actually not too bad once we started doing it. I hope it was not too scary for you. We will continue to build more components in the next lesson. I'll see you there. If you would like to see more content, consider supporting us by becoming a member at my website, Acadea.io. It is similar to Patreon, but in return, you get a lot of premium tutorials and lessons. If you can't become a member, that's totally fine. We are just happy that you are here. We spend a lot of time and energy to produce high quality videos for you. Feel free to check out our other videos on YouTube, and if you can leave a thumbs up, you will really make my day. If you subscribe, I would jump for joy, and I'll make more videos for you. Thanks for your support, and I'll see you next time.